of the Where Were We podcast.
The
Sitting
Where
with
Were
you
We Pod.
today is once again the notorious
Oh,
Mocha.
you're going with me first. Okay. The notorious Mocha and the illustrious Seaside.
Here I am.
The illustrious. I have noticed a trend in our podcast so far that I feel like every time so far we have not dropped like our Twitter handles or anything
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So, and I know that we definitely will not close with that. So I might as well get it out of the way now.
Okay.
You can follow the podcast at Where Were We Pod on Twitter. You can follow him at Seaside Mike 1 on Twitter, and you can follow me at M0KA underscore AF on Twitter. So those are the Twitter spheres if you want
Absolutely.
to, get
If you guys want to get in
updates.
contact with us, you guys maybe have an idea about something you guys want us to talk about.
Oh, very true,
You could
very
always
true.
contact us on there if you can't catch the stream live.
Exactly. And we're actually on a lot of platforms now.
Yes, we are.
We are. We're on
It feels great.
Spotify, we're on Stitcher, we're on Anchor, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitch. We got 5.
Yeah, and we're gonna work on getting our stuff on Apple
Apple
Podcasts.
Apple Pods, and there was a few other. I know we wanted to get on SoundCloud,
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah.
just a few other things.
But
So
we're super
so yeah,
excited about everything that we're doing so far, and thank you guys for the support. For those of you who listen, and spread the word.
yeah. Spread the word because it's a lot of fun doing this type of stuff. I mean, I have a blast every
Absolutely.
time. So,
I mean, it's like an
um,
hour to just talk to one of my best friends, man. It's a good time.
exactly. It's all good. Um, so we can jump right in. I know Seaside has a lot of hot topics he wants to get at today.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go see the Shazam movie soon,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, I'm hearing good things about that. But I just saw the trailer for the new Joker movie, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I am super excited.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
um, one, Joker is my favorite villain. He's
That's
my
fair.
favorite supervillain. He's my favorite. Batman's my favorite hero. Part of the reason why he's my favorite hero is because I love the
Well,
Joker that
because you got
much.
the Joker. This
He's
is
got
like
the best
it's
villain. I just think he's the best villain.
he does
So,
have one of the best villains out there. I
yeah.
mean, um, the Joker is by far up there in my top favorite villains.
Hmm.
Um, the only thing that I'm slightly, and I mean just ever so slightly nervous about after seeing the trailer
Hmm.
is I feel like if they go way too deep into the backstory
Hmm.
and do like what they did with not what they did specifically, but like what movies have done with like Peter Parker,
Hmm.
and they beat the insane stuff to like a bloody pulp. I'm gonna be like, eh. But I know that that's like a big part of it, so I get
Hmm.
that it has to be in there. Just like I understood, the Spider-Man's origin story. Like I
Yeah.
got it, but I
Yeah.
I want to see more of like the inner workings of what kind of jobs he pulls off and
Yeah.
how
Well,
that happens.
I'll be honest. I don't think that we're gonna get to him being the Joker until the end of the movie.
I know, and that's kind of why I'm like meh.
Yeah.
Um, I would be
What?
so excited though for a sequel.
Oh yeah.
I
That
mean,
would that'd be.
if they set it up really nice, I because
Hmm.
I know that like the movie I want to see is not going to be the movie that comes out.
The movie I want to see is gonna be that movie,
And
just
yeah,
because
that's fair. That's fair.
I I I want to see how he gets to where he gets to. The thing is, the only thing that I was concerned about is making villains sympathetic. Where some villains can be sympathetic and they can be like kind of anti-heroes, but the
Yeah.
Joker is a force of nature. He is an agent of pure chaos.
Oh yeah.
So
And
I want to see
like
how he gets there.
I mean I can totally respect the the art that's going to go into that. Like I mean, I don't think anybody has ever played the Joker as good as Heath Ledger did.
Hmm.
So I'm curious to see that is one of the big things in my opinion is like you
Hmm.
have to live up to that
Well,
first.
critically, Joaquin Phoenix is considered a better actor than Heath Ledger,
And
but
that's fine. That's
and
fine.
Heath Ledger's Joker is probably it's probably my second favorite Joker of all time.
Okay.
My first favorite Joker is Joker from the animated series because I include that
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Joker from Batman the animated series.
I mean, I
Um,
I just think that the way Heath Ledger, just the whole, every single aspect of that was so perfect in my opinion, and like it really
mhm,
got not only the essence of what the Joker is, but you got that uneasy feel every time he was on screen.
mhm.
And I think largely that was due to Hans Zimmer, the person who made the music.
Yeah.
Because I've actually watched so much on Hans Zimmer and the music of Batman and stuff like that.
Mhm,
That dude literally was like, I only want to play one note anytime the Joker's on screen. And
mhm,
you hear that one note,
mhm.
and it's just one note.
It's nuances like that you don't even pick up, but like you feel
Oh,
them, you know?
yeah. Cause that's one thing that we talked about when we were talking about Captain Marvel is I'm like, when I watch the movies, I dive full in for like the music and how that
Mhm,
like helps create the atmosphere, helps create the scene. So anytime the Joker's on screen, like the Heath Ledger Joker's on screen, you hear that one shrieking note and
mhm.
you're just like, oh man, like you're just uneasy.
Yeah.
And then anytime he, after you hear that note and then you hear him say any line from that entire like series, you're just like, holy
Mhm,
shit. So
mhm.
this guy's got to live up to that first and foremost, in my opinion. But other than
Mhm.
that, I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, it looks good because I like from what I can see, it looks like what's gonna happen is the Joker the Joker is madness himself is mad, but he realizes that the rest of the world is also mad.
Yes.
And from there, he just realizes that he doesn't need to hide it anymore. He just lets it go. And he thinks everything is meaningless and everything's supposed to be, he thought his life was a tragedy, but it turns out it's a comedy.
It's a
Like,
comedy. They
yeah,
did wrap that up pretty good in the trailer, I gotta say.
yeah.
And
And
I mean, okay, go ahead. Nah,
they also had some Easter eggs of the previous Jokers. Did you catch that?
I did. And I
Yeah,
also
I thought
watched
that
a
was
lot of
pretty good.
YouTube videos on that. So shout out to YouTube.
Yeah, shout out YouTube.
Speaking of trailers though, and I
Hmm.
know that because this kind of brings us to the next thing is what makes a good villain. Because
Hmm.
I know we wanted to talk about that,
Yeah.
and because the Joker is a great villain.
Hmm.
Um, but I've been seeing like all the new trailers and stuff that they're releasing for Endgame. I already
Hmm.
got my tickets. I'm
I should have bought mine. I'm
I'm
kind of nervous.
so excited for Endgame because I think that Thanos is another really good villain.
Yeah, yeah, he's very good.
But you were talking about like making villains like the sympathetic villain.
Hmm.
I think Thanos is one of those villains
Yeah, and
because go
that
ahead.
can work for certain characters. It just the Joker is just you're not supposed to get
No,
him.
no, that is not
Yeah, you know what I
one.
mean?
That is not
You're
one
not
that you're
supposed to get that
supposed to
guy. And if you do get
have.
that guy, there's a few numbers that you should be calling.
Yeah, so one of them is help.
Yes.
1-800 help me. Help please. Yeah, but I've been seeing a lot of these trailers coming out and I'm so excited for all these really good superhero supervillain movies coming out. The one thing that I am pretty excited about the Joker movie for is this is going to be one of the few times where it's just highlighting the villain.
Yeah.
How many movies do you really get that aren't like horror movies that they're
Yeah.
just highlighting a villain?
It's like
That's
how
crazy.
many villains deserve that though?
Not many.
You know?
Not
It's
many.
like not many deserve that. I feel like Batman's entire like his rogue gallery can get his whole entire cast of villains could probably
A
get
lot of
something
them
like that.
really could. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one thing that we've talked about a lot when it comes to like comics versus movies and stuff like that, is like
Hmm.
the DC comics have so many very well developed main characters and main storylines, whereas
Hmm.
Marvel always has like a lot of the really good side supporting type role.
Yeah.
So it like works better for movies in my opinion than
Hmm.
the comics, because I think a lot of people can agree DC comics are just better, and
Yeah.
Marvel movies so far have been a lot
Yeah.
better.
Marvel movies
Um,
are better. DC Comics
yeah,
itself is better.
like me, I'm probably not gonna see Shazam. I
I'm
I
I've
probably
never
won't.
been a big fan, but I'm hearing way too many good things
I
about it.
I
So
also have heard a lot of bad things about it though.
have
Like
you?
I heard that like it gets pretty cheesy,
I believe it. That's the thing. That's
and
why
that's
I wasn't gonna go see it originally.
yeah. I mean, like when I heard like one or two complaints that it was cheesy, I was like, all right, I'm out. Like
Mm.
I'm fine with if I see it on Netflix for free one day, I might
Hmm.
give it a look, but like I'm not gonna pay money to go see it.
Fair. I just love superhero content, so I'm always just willing to
Yeah,
support
and
that, I
that's
guess.
fair. That's
But
fair.
like even him doing the floss, like the dance in the trailer, I was like, Christ on the cross, stop this.
Yeah,
That dates your movie too, because you know
yeah.
what I
Not
mean? It
only
just
that,
dates
but
it.
like,
Like
didn't Ninja just prove that you can't floss on a wide scale at New Year's?
I have no idea. I have
So
no idea.
you know who Ninja
I
is,
know who Ninja
obviously.
is, yeah.
He was in charge of like the New Year's like ball drop this year,
Hmm.
and he was trying to get 1 million people in New York City, Times Square, to floss at the same time.
Hmm.
And uh, it was raining, it was cold AF, and I want to say like 95% of those people were way above the age group to know who Ninja is or care about who Ninja
Oh
is.
gosh, yeah.
So he's like trying to get 1 million people to floss, and then like he got like maybe a couple hundred.
Oh wow.
Like, and they were fishing for people in the crowd to try and find anybody.
Even if I knew Ninja, I wouldn't be flawed.
Right? I wouldn't be floss. I can't floss. I
I
don't
can't do
care.
that.
I don't care.
Witchcraft.
It's witchcraft. Yeah, it's black magic right there. Get me flossing. Bullshit.
Oh yuck! I hate that dance though. There's some
It's
dances I like. I don't like that one.
no, that one is definitely dumb. That one
Yeah.
is I mean, like it doesn't make sense to any song that people floss to
Yeah, it doesn't match any beat.
because
It
it's
just
way
make
too fast.
it's just a bunch of nonsense.
And like the better you are at it, the faster you're supposed to be, which is the dumbest part. Is like you're going like 200 beats per minute. The song's at like 90. It doesn't.
The
It
song's at
doesn't
90
match.
BPM.
Just doesn't match.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, Shazam flossing. You know,
Yeah.
I'm okay not seeing that shit.
That's fair.
Like just me personally.
But what do you want in a villain? Like what are the characteristics of your perfect villain?
My perfect villain. I want some like my ideal villain has to be some semblance of crazy. I
Okay.
don't like when villains are like have the sad sympathetic
The sad
backstory.
backstory.
I really like oh, everything was going fine until like somebody took something away from me and now I hate everything and I'm going to be a bad person.
I kind of like that though.
I mean it's not for everybody.
I kind of like that though because it's like you're saying all it takes is one good day. Like it could be any of us, you know what I mean? Or one bad day.
And I can understand it. It just like that's not for me. I
Fair enough.
do not want my villain to be like, "Oh, life was fine." Like cuz think about it then. Shouldn't Batman just be the ultimate villain?
Yeah, I mean,
He
like,
had a really fucking bad day.
some might consider him a villain.
He had a really bad day.
He is breaking the law.
But he's breaking the law and he's doing the Queen's work, so it's fine. People just leave him alone for
The
justice, quote
Queen's
unquote.
work.
The Queen's work.
People leave him alone because if they don't, he'll put
He'll just plow you
his foot
through.
in their ass.
Yeah, it's fine. No,
Yeah.
so I need my villain to not have like a really sad story, like, cuz I don't care. Like
Hmm.
at the end of the day, they're supposed to be a villain, right? They're supposed to be some shitty like scum, right? Cuz the hero is supposed to win. And
Yeah.
the hero is supposed to kick the villain's ass. You're not supposed to like the hero or the villain. You're not supposed to, right?
Fair.
Which is why the Joker is kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Because I have never once like turned on a Batman thing and been like, "Oh man, I really feel bad for the Joker right now." He's always
Yeah.
like fucking up everything. He just
Yeah.
blows shit up.
Ruining everything.
And he's fine with it. Like he's
Yeah.
just okay with that
He's
concept.
like, it's funny, haha.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, it sucks to suck, motherfuckers."
Yeah.
Like
I just for me, what I want in a villain is like I want him to not think he's a villain. You know what I mean? Like I want him to think that he's the hero.
I do like that. I like that. I think that
You know what I mean?
well, cuz that's the thing, right? Thanos is one of those.
Exactly.
Cuz
Like, we're
Thanos is
all-
like he's
yeah.
like, "Man, life would be so much better if we decrease the population by 50% because we have limited resources.
we are at capacity.
We are at capacity." So he thinks in his mind actually that he is fine and doing everything right and that he does not feel like he's the bad guy. And when he
Exactly.
wins at the end of Infinity War, like quote unquote wins, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is one of the coolest like I was worried how they were going to handle that. Because I like the MCU, I really like to research all their stuff after I see movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, so going back and looking at like the Infinity Gauntlet storyline and like knowing how iconic the snap is in the comics, it's like I was thinking before Infinity War came out and before they were even talking about like how it could possibly go down, I was like, if they fuck up the snap, if they change the snap, I am going to be livid because I'll be mad for the nerd community who loves the comics, who are like, that is his moment. He gets one shot.
Thanos gets broken like a number of times in the comic books.
Yeah.
There was a time where he got the heart of the universe.
Dude's
That was a
like one of the
disaster.
most broken villains ever, though. He's
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
They
like-
they always make him so powerful.
Yeah. He has to be.
Yeah, I mean he's a force. He's a force.
He's a
to be reckoned
titan.
with. Yeah, he's a titan.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes
that-
sense.
Yeah. That's what I want in a villain. And like I don't know. That's just perfect for me because we're all the heroes of our own story, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like I'm a big fan of anti-heroes. Like I like fucking love Venom. Like
Oh yeah, did you like you mean the movie?
no, I mean like the character in general.
Yeah, I like Venom too,
I
the
actually
character.
didn't see the Venom movie. I really wanted to, but I just haven't had time.
It wasn't bad. I liked
The-
it. It was
Venom as a character though, like I just love how it just like controls you. Like you have no say. Like it just
Yeah.
fucks shit up. It's like I have one path, and that is like it's so objective focused. And once it completes the objective, it's like, all right, I fucking don't care anymore.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It does
exactly.
not matter if shit blows up. Like you don't have that bullshit like superhero concept where it's like, oh, they like the superheroes are so strong that they wreck the city and yada yada yada. It's like who fucking cares? They just saved your planet. They saved your town.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
Or see, I can understand that because it's like one of the things I hate the most about comic books is Superman. I hate Superman.
Superman bullshit.
So yeah, Superman has all these powers and is pretty much just like a god. And it's like walking around Earth, and it's just like you're the nicest guy ever. Like fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, he's like,
Like, be a jerk once in a
not
while.
only am I'm tall, I'm handsome, I'm all powerful,
And I'm fucking Lois Lane.
and yeah, I'm the nicest guy ever. Oh,
Yeah.
you have a kitty in a tree? I'll get it.
Exactly. I don't believe that. That's not real.
Bullshit. If
Yeah.
Superman saw a kitty in the tree, he'd be like, "Fuck this cat! I got better shit to worry about. Like I'm
Yeah.
in my suit right now, trying to
Exactly.
perform my job." And
If
then,
I'm in my suit, something's going wrong.
yeah, exactly. Like, come on. Oh,
Like if the
God.
glasses
Yeah.
are off.
Superman's fucking awful. But on a different note,
Mhm.
one of my favorite superhero type concepts ever is actually The Incredibles, like the Pixar movie.
Yeah. Hmm.
I fucking love that shit. And like Incredibles 2 was also amazing.
I didn't see it yet.
Oh my gosh, dude. If you liked Incredibles like the original,
Mhm.
Incredibles 2 was fucking flames. It was, I'm gonna say this, and I'll probably catch a lot of flack for this, but it was worth the like 13-year wait or whatever. It was that fucking good.
Oh, that's dope.
I
I haven't
really
seen.
liked
Yeah, it's
it.
been years since I've seen the original.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I got kids, so I'm allowed to watch these kind of movies and feel no shame. I wouldn't feel
I
any
don't
shame
feel. I
anyway.
wouldn't feel shame
but-
anyway. Yeah.
but you know, like at least I kind of have an excuse. Oh, well, the kids wanted to watch it. They're like
That's-
2 years
yeah.
old. The kids don't care.
Yeah. So here's a topic we didn't talk about, but I figured. Feel free if this is too personal. How do you make sure that your kids like care about shit you care about? Like I want my kids to like love Dragon Ball Z. How do you
Okay.
like? Do
Okay,
you have that
actually-
problem?
Actually, here we'll go with that, right? So
Yeah.
I really love Dragon Ball Z as well. I
Mhm.
loved Dragon Ball, and
Yeah.
that kind of got me into Dragon Ball Z and into the whole concept. And in the '90s, growing up and early 2000s, like I ate that shit up. Not only
Mhm.
did I have every fucking action figure that came out,
Yep.
but like I have 3 brothers, so all 4 of us had collectively every single Dragon Ball Z action figure.
That's awesome.
We had the trading card game.
Well, that's awesome.
Like
never
I
even seen
used
those.
to fucking play Dragon Ball Z TCG. If you want to talk about some card games, go fucking look at that. That shit was flames, dude. I used to love that shit. I watched the show like every fucking day after school. It was
Mhm.
like my ish, right?
Mhm.
So I'm sitting on the couch the other day, and I got my son, right? And we're sitting there, and I'm going through Hulu, and I see Dragon Ball's on Hulu. I was like, oh shit. I look around, my wife, my daughter are nowhere in sight. I'm like, okay, buddy, I'm gonna show you the ropes here. This dude's 1.5. He doesn't fucking care. He is 1.5, right? I turn on Dragon Ball. It's the Japanese version with the English subs. So
Mhm.
it's like you know it's the good shit, right?
Mhm.
We're watching it, and in the first episode, this like it's like a bobcat mountain cat looking thing is chasing young Goku, and it falls off a goddamn cliff into a river, and it's very comedic, and it has this like big bang clashy sound with a whole bunch of like poofs, and it's very funny and colorful, right?
Mhm.
I kid you not, my son, when the comedic moment happened, just started belly laughing, just like just all over it, right? And I
That's
was like,
amazing, yeah.
he's a goddamn genius. He
Yeah.
picked up on the comedic timing of that and everything. We watched that whole first episode. He laughed at every single cue. It was amazing.
That is dope. He's
So
been indoctrinated.
yeah, he's
It's in his
got it.
blood now.
The episode 1 is in the tank. We just gotta feed him with the other stuff.
Yeah.
Now Dragon Ball was a little bit more of a risque show than Dragon Ball Z. if
That's
you
true. It
remember
had some,
correctly.
yeah, it has some things in it.
It has
I
some
recall
pretty
some Goku and
adult,
Bulma.
yeah, it has some pretty adult themes in it. So, as far as that goes, I didn't want to like straight up full
Expose him
on,
too much.
yeah,
Fair.
corrupt him like at the young age of 1.5.
Yeah.
But I gotta say though, for all intents and purposes, the concept of getting my kids to like the things that I'm into,
Hmm.
um, I'm not necessarily so worried about that. I'm big on letting people kind of do their own thing, figure themselves out.
Yeah.
So like, and shit changes too, right? Like you're in a different state. You don't have kids. Kids probably are not in your future plans for the at least immediate future, right?
That's fair.
So for you, yeah, I had those same worries too. Oh, I want kid to play video games. I want my kid to play
Hmm.
baseball. Like I want like these specific things to happen. And then you have a kid and you're like, I just want them to eat food and and like I have to take care of this little human
It's, yeah,
and
I get it.
like okay,
Wow.
like I was alone with both of them for the last 3 days. My wife goes out of town,
Yeah.
so I got the kids, and my daughter didn't want to eat anything. Like she was not
Mm.
about it, and I'm over here like, you will die if you don't eat this food. I don't care if you're sick of chicken. I don't care if you like want pasta. I have chicken right here and broccoli and corn and you're going to eat this. And she was like, "No, no." All
Not
sassy
today.
and I'm like, "Uh-uh. You will not do anything else until we eat this food." So like a lot of the time that whole concept of like, "Oh, I want them to play baseball" is completely
Mhm.
overwritten by I just want you to eat your fucking food. Like just
Yeah.
eat your food and then we'll take a bath and then we'll go to bed or whatever. You just get I don't know. I mean, that's also kind of like my personality type because
Hmm.
I'm pretty much like problem solver mode all the time. So
Yeah.
whenever there's a problem, it's like I'm just like so focused on trying to get that set up and taken care of that everything else gets thrown out. Like just you don't think about anything else. It's one of
Mm.
those like adrenaline type things where you're just so ultra focused on whatever that you just forget all else of cares. They're just gone. Um, but we don't have to harp on that too
Well, it
long.
makes sense. Yeah, I
I
hear
mean,
you.
it's
Yeah,
fine.
I always think like my parents always played like old music in the car, and now I like old music, and I'm like, but I don't really play old music in my car all that often. So I'm
I
like, I
get
gotta
you.
start playing old music in my car once I get these kids.
Yeah, I mean, like, but that's the thing though. I feel like with our generation, it's gonna be so hard to do that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, let's say 10 years from now, right? Let's
Hmm.
say you have a kid like next year, so your kid's now 9 at this point, right? Do you really want to be like, oh, back in my college days, we used to listen to Riff Raff.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I
You,
don't want.
I'm gonna
I don't
play
want.
you a song from my old days, and then you hit Dr. Pepper,
Oh
and you're
man,
just like I
my
got that
kid's
shit
looking at me
on,
like you
bitch,
old,
Dr. Pepper.
old raggedy man.
That's the thing. Like I have a hard time even
I'm just gonna
justifying.
play them this Kanye West catalog.
But like even Kanye, don't like. Can't you foresee having a hard time justifying playing to like your 9-year-old like the song Gold Digger?
I mean, I'm sure there'll still be gold diggers.
Well, there
There'll
still
still
will
be gold
be, but
diggers when
like
he's nine.
like you don't want to like
You
corrupt.
know,
Like I
I don't
like
know.
I
When my
would
son's at
rather.
school, I want him to know that like like little girls on the playground cannot just like date him for his candy.
Well, okay, that's a fair concept. That's a fair concept, but
Yeah.
I think that the like on the flip side, right? Is do you remember the first time you heard Kanye?
I wish I could. I wish I could.
I do. Okay,
Hmm.
I was on the bus coming home from school, and I had one of my white dumbass friends was
Hmm.
just like, "Have you heard this song?" It was like it was Diamonds, I think.
Hmm.
And I was like, no, I haven't heard it. And they were like, you got to check it out. Right. I listened to it, changed my world.
Change your world.
I was just like, this is what a true artist does with hip hop music, with rap music, right? I was like, this is amazing. Then it was like, full stop. I was all about listening to every single thing Kanye I could get my dumb ass, young ass hands on. I was like, play it all for me. This is the music that my brother who's about to go to college is fucking listening to. I'm sitting here like 6 years younger than him, just like bumping that shit.
Yeah.
But I had to do it all in private. I had to listen to like all the music that I wanted to in private because I was too young for it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'm like I'm too young to have like my parents like it's like that.
Well, I don't want them to
feeling,
listen
right?
to cheese music either, like
Huh?
cheesy, like kiddish music.
Well, no, but like my parents were all into like 80s rock and roll and like hair metal and shit. Like
Yeah.
so for them that was what they liked to listen to whenever we were driving or whatever. So I heard a lot of like Def Leppard and Guns N' Roses, all these different like old rock bands, right? And so like if I ever wanted to take the control with my mix CD and pop it in, and all of a sudden you got Eminem and Dr. Dre and Kanye,
That makes sense,
you're like, fuck that. I am like 12 years old. I should not be listening to this right now. I should know what 90% of these words mean.
That makes sense.
So, but I had that moment where it was like, this shit is awesome. Yeah. I want to listen to it, and I know that my parents would hate it, right? But like, and so I kind of want that moment for my kids.
That's true.
I want them to have those experiences where they're like, I know my dad would fucking kill me if he heard me listening to whatever, right? I'm just going to tack Lil and some name together 10 years from now, right? And I'm going to be like, oh, my 13-year-old is listening to all this club music. I'm going to be this old ass man, like
back in my day.
We listened to club music when we were in college.
Yeah. Yeah, like my dad always listened to like Anita Baker. In my old age, I've realized how strange my dad's music palette was.
Awesome.
But he would like listen to like he'd go from like Anita Baker to like the Bee Gees to Elton John.
I love me some Bee Gees.
I listened to How Deep Is Your Love earlier today on the way home.
I listened to actually. That's so fucking weird. I listened to Tragedy on the way home today.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I fucking love the Bee Gees, man.
I've grown a deep appreciation for the Bee Gees.
But yeah.
But now when I'm in my car, I listen to like YouTube videos and like Joe Budden podcast or Joe Rogan podcast. I can't have my kids listen to that.
A lot of the listening that I go to now is like, because adult life is so goddamn serious and weird. That like all I kind of want is something to like cool down with. So like I listen to like stand-up comedy. I listen to a lot of instrumentals. Like I've in like being 25, I'm like, fuck lyrics, man. They don't like, I don't need lyrics to enjoy a song now.
Fair.
And I think that's like, that's also something cool. 'Cause like typically when you think of instrumental music, you think like jazz and shit like that. Like
jazz is dope too. I wish I was more.
I love jazz. Like I fucking love jazz, and I love blues music. I love when a blues song will be like 2 lyrics and then they'll just fuck that and play solos and shit the whole time. I'm all about it. So like these days I've been listening to a lot of chill hop, and
I just
put that shit
I recommend Nujabes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'm saying his name. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but I just love all his instrumentals that he's done are just amazing.
Yeah, like I think I used to make beats and stuff like that, right? So like for
I
me,
used to rap on
you did.
them.
What were those times?
Dark times.
We're gonna have to talk about those when we're old ass
Oh
crusty
yeah.
motherfuckers.
Yikes. Let my kids ever find one of my old songs.
No,
Oh my
they if my kids ever find one of the songs that we worked on, I hope to God it's late nights, early mornings.
god. I
That
do that.
shit was fucking dope.
Oh my god.
I loved it. I couldn't get enough of that shit.
I can get. I liked Freddie's part.
I
My
did
part
too.
sucked.
No, I wanted to remaster that. I wanted to rework that like here.
That's hilarious.
I think
Oh
that
my
shit could
god.
have been
If
sick.
I think I listened to it like the other day, and because I
You
got
still
my
have
old
it?
yeah, I have my old
Can
laptop.
you send me that shit?
I can send it to
Cause
you.
I gotta
My
listen to
old
that.
it was on my old laptop, and I gave my old laptop to my brother, but he got a new laptop. So I'm like, well, let me take this one, and I just like strifling through. I was like, oh, look at all this stuff that I did.
You gotta send
Burn
me
it all.
all of our old stuff. Cause I like if anything, I just want it for the memories. I don't have to
Fair
play
enough.
it like live or anything. I just want to listen to it and be like,
Oh,
I was a dumbass.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
Oh my
moment I
god.
want.
I was
I
like,
want the
yeah.
I'm a
I was
dumbass
like,
moment.
who was this person who was saying these things?
Who is this man?
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah, but like that's the kind of thing with kids is like you kind of really want them to experience their own concepts like that, like cuz in my head a lot of those defining moments that I had growing up that have made me like who I am now, it's
Hmm.
like I don't want to like rip that from my kids because I'm like you need to play baseball, and if my son
Yeah.
or
No.
my daughter is like, well, actually, I want to play soccer, and I'll be like, I don't know jack shit about soccer, but okay, like let's go
Hmm.
for it. Now, I will say there is one sport that I am terrified for either of them to want to do:
What sport?
gymnastics.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because not because like oh gymnastics is what I
Hmm.
don't care. Gymnastics is fucking tough. It
Hmm.
takes a lot of strength to be able to do any of those moves. I I am fat as shit. I couldn't do any of those, right? I
Yeah.
have a lot of mad respect for anybody who does gymnastics. However, if my kids come up to me one day and say, "Dad, I want to do gymnastics," I will shit a brick with how nervous I am.
Dun
I
dun.
I will be sitting there like, have you ever watched Final Destination?
Hmm.
The one with the gymnastics scene?
Oh, he that whole all that
Okay,
everything
yeah,
about those
everything
movies.
about those movies is fucked. But like that literally has ruined gymnastics for me.
Fair.
The
Yeah, my kids can't play football. I'm not letting them play football. But
see,
I do. I'm not letting them play. I don't care what anyone
I
says. I
don't
don't
have to
want you
worry
to.
about that because
Mhm.
like my wife's 4'9", I'm 5'6". My kid's never gonna be able to play football.
Fair,
My
fair.
kids they'll have to play either baseball, softball, or
Soccer.
ride the bench on whatever other fucking sport they play.
That's
Because
true.
because
I
most
mean,
sports you need to be
that's
relatively
true.
tall.
Yeah, and I'm not super tall either, but I'm like 5'9". My
Like
GF
like
is like
football,
5'8".
like if you like what position can a 5'2" motherfucker play? I'll tell you
Kicker.
what, kicker,
That's a
kicker,
safe position. Now, if he
kicker.
goes to be a kicker, I'd be like, sure, but that's all you're doing.
That's all you're allowed to do. If anybody
Yeah.
says let me tackle you, just say
Mhm.
fuck you, buddy.
Yeah. I am making my kids play sports though because I'd never played sports. Like, oh, I played football in middle school, like 1 year, and then I moved to Pennsylvania, and I never played sports again, and I regret it.
I played
So,
football when I was really young. Then I
mhm.
stopped playing football until like because I got into like all the X game type sports like skateboarding,
Mm,
BMX, motocross, all those kind of
yeah.
things. So I got real into those. And then when I was in like 8th grade, I tried playing baseball on like a rec team.
Mm.
Um, got picked on for being shit. So then I didn't try out for the freshman team. Ended
Mm,
up like my sophomore year of high school, I played football for like 1 year. I like
yeah.
fucking sprained my ankle 3 times. So I was
That
like,
hurts.
I don't know if this is for me. Quit
Hmm.
playing football. Never went back to play baseball until college. And then I played baseball for like 2 years in college. It's like, what the
Yeah,
fuck, dude?
yeah. I don't know, man. It's full circle.
Yeah, I mean, sports are fun. Like, I don't mind them, but the...
But I
Go ahead.
think you kind of like you. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I've only played 1 year, but it like teaches you community, and it's hard, and it's like like a team. You're part of a team. You're part of something, you know. And I feel like a lot of which we're gonna get, which I don't know, depending on our time, but we'll get to. I think a lot of what kids are missing today is community.
Well, let's just jump right into that.
Okay.
Because the topic, okay, so we have like, when we do these, we have like slight semblances of what we want to talk about, but we never have
Exactly.
like a,
Like
full
a
plan.
script or something. Yeah.
So the last topic actually on the list today is balance in relationships and mental health in the youth.
Absolutely.
And since we're kind of already on the topic, that is something that I fucking worry about all the
Okay.
time right now, because I do have
mean,
kids.
With your
right?
kids, okay.
So like I think I'm a little more up to date than like all of our friends are in a way different situation than me. You know, no one has kids. Like I'm like the only one with kids, right? And
Yeah.
so these are like real concepts that are going to come up with me in like the next couple of fucking years. When you all are talking about getting engaged or whatever, I'll be sitting here talking about like, well, my kid's getting bullied, or my kid
Yeah.
is the bully, or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the shit that I have to think about, is like how to try and not raise a psychopath.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
you could go ahead. But
I believe it. I think I guess how to connect it. We communicate so much now online that it's kind of like erasing our ability to communicate in person.
see, I don't 100% believe that. More in my opinion, I think the online communication has not made the ability worse, it's made the quality worse.
Okay. Yes.
And
yes.
if
That's a good
like
way
for
to put it.
people who don't kind of like aren't with me on that yet, like when's the last time you had a conversation with your parents and this is kind of how it went? How you doing?
Fine.
Fine. Yeah, what are you up to later? Just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's it? What are you thinking about? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
These one word fucking answers, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why is because when you're texting people, LOL.
Yeah. Straight face LOL. But think about it like this.
What the
like
fuck do I have to say? Like you said
Yeah.
something, you cracked a hilarious joke. You sent a GIF
or an
something,
emoji.
or an emoji,
Yeah.
and I just send back poop face with a peace sign. Yeah?
Yeah.
Isn't that like the definition of saying meh?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck did I really say? I sent 2 pictures to you.
Yeah.
I think that if the world does not explode because we're fucking dumb, I think that eventually a universal communication system will be emojis and memes and GIFs.
Oh, I'm sure there's already a language being developed of just emojis and GIFs, and I bet you we can probably understand most of it. Honestly,
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard. Memes
Yeah.
make sense to everybody.
Yeah.
And
Except for people who don't know what memes are.
yeah, but they're gonna die out soon anyway. Sorry,
Yeah.
I know that was okay. Wait, that was very rough to say, but
I mean, I
like
understand.
in all honesty, the only people who like even like my older coworkers and stuff understand what memes are, whether it be through their kids or even grandkids in some regards. People just understand. Oh, I think I saw that. Is that on that app iFunny? Yeah,
Oh my
it was
God,
on iFunny. It's like,
So yeah. So okay, think about it like this. So me and you, we haven't had to deal with this in some years, but imagine courting a woman, right? So you send her all these messages, and you're funny through text, but then you get to see her in person, and you actually have to have a conversation with her, and you have no clue what to say. You don't have your emojis. You don't have anyone to ask. You actually have to have a conversation with her. How do you do it? You know what I mean? In this generation.
okay, so that's a good question. I think what actually needs to happen is not necessarily like less phone time. I
Hmm.
just think that people need to like people are so afraid of the conversations that
Hmm.
could happen that they try and avoid them at all costs.
Yeah.
Like like to me, I think our generation kind of started this non-confrontational concept where like I would rather not agree with somebody and just be quiet about it.
I don't think that's true.
Well,
I have to disagree
like
with you.
that's fine.
Hmm.
But in general, like in my experiences, I think that like there are a lot of people our age who are just less confrontational. And I
I
think
think in
that
person, yes. In person, people are less confrontational.
that's what I mean cuz we're
Okay.
talking
Okay.
about
Yeah.
in-person communication, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
over text, they'll just fucking rip into people.
Hmm. I
Can
think on.
can they'll
Yeah.
they'll be like face to face like we are right now and be
Hmm.
like oh like you just said I disagree with you, right? and
Hmm.
and like I'll be like, oh, that's fine, and then I just text one of our other friends, can you believe what Mike just fucking said to me? He disagreed
Yeah.
with me. This is such bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So, but like there is not really that confrontation of me being like, hey, fuck you, explain why you disagree with me,
Yeah.
right?
I
Like
see
we
what you
don't
mean.
have
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and I think that is kind of what texting has done is removed that confrontation with the actual person and pushed it onto other people. You just text your
Hmm.
best friend what happened, or you just
Yeah.
talk to other people about what happened and not the person that the actual issue is with or whatever, right?
I get what you mean.
And I think that that kind of is where like the whole concept of this
Yeah.
topic, right, is there needs to be some balance.
Yeah. I mean, along those lines, people are always looking for a reason to be offended. And I don't know how often you use Twitter, but that's like
Oh, I
become
love
a
Twitter.
large portion of what Twitter is. And if you take it too seriously, it could, you know what I mean? It could affect you mentally, it could affect you emotionally. But if you just take everything as just like, oh, you guys are clowns. Like this is just entertainment for me. Like,
Then you're
you know what I mean?
fine.
I'm not gonna partake in this nonsense. I'm just gonna laugh at everyone.
Exactly. It's
That's how I take it.
like the only tweets that I really post these days are like, hey,
About the
I'm
pod.
streaming, or like, hey, the
Hmm.
podcast is going on. Like I really don't tweet much personally
Hmm.
anymore. Because I've been burnt by Twitter way too many times.
Mm.
Like I may have said something one fucking time, like oh, I can't believe that shit, and somebody will
Hmm.
text you like, why the fuck you bringing our shit to Twitter? I'm like, that wasn't even
Oh yeah.
about you. Can you fuck off for a minute? Like,
Yeah.
like the whole world doesn't revolve
People,
around you.
people,
Like,
yeah.
settle down.
People are looking for reasons to be offended.
Yeah, it's and like, I'm not like I don't care to get into too much about like why people get offended or whatever. Because like in some cases, I genuinely can understand the
Yeah.
concepts of like, oh, this is why that offends me, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
But what I don't like is when people get offended for other people. Like when it
I.
doesn't even fucking involve you.
It depends. It depends on the
Like,
situation.
okay, the scenario that I'm thinking of is
Hmm.
like you have somebody who goes out of their way to put another person on blast, right?
Hmm.
For saying like one small simple word. Like, you know the concept of being triggered?
Hmm.
Like I just recently found out that that's apparently offensive, right? And I used to say I'm triggered all the fucking time
Wait,
because
triggered is offensive?
triggered is offensive. You want to know? Do you know why? Obviously
No.
not, right? Well, I
No.
saw this post on Twitter. Somebody was like, um, the gaming community is actually a bunch of assholes for saying triggered all the time. And then it was like a thread or whatever, because people like to do that now too. Tweet like 10 times and call it a thread, because what the fuck. But anyway, so I read this thread because I'm like, I fucking say triggered all the time. I want to know why like this is supposedly wrong, right? Apparently, when you are referencing the term triggered, it is referring to PTSD triggers. Right? And so when you think of it like that, oh shit, yeah, I should probably say something different, right?
Yeah.
So instead I say I'm tilted. And I have not heard anything about that being wrong. So I'm fine. Keep on saying, oh, I'm really tilted right now.
Yeah.
But it's an easy replacement word. But I said I was triggered like one time after saying being tilted like a billion times, and somebody fucking jumped on me for saying triggered, right? For what? And I was like, do you have PTSD? Like, am I offending you for being triggered right now? No.
I can understand that, because some people, I guess a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. My problem more so lies with people who are fake upset. People who just want likes and like retweets, and so that they say that they're offended. That. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Like if you are genuinely trying to defend someone else, I get it. But if you are just doing bullshit just because you want the attention, here's the thing. We are in an attention economy where everything that everyone wants is just attention. And that's really great if you're trying to sell products like clothes or a brand of some sort. But when you're on social media, it's like people are the product. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You are the brand.
People are the product. You are the brand. And like, you are going to try to get as much attention as you can, even if that means destroying someone else's reputation, even if that means, being fake offended about something. It's it's weird.
I mean,
it's a weird time you live in.
Like in my case, right? This scenario of me saying triggered like one time and then somebody fucking jumping on me is like, the only reason I felt bad is because once they said it, I was like, oh shit. Right? Like I was like, oh man, like I have been making a conscious effort to not say that. And of course, like it slips up and I say it, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I go around and like after that, like I just apologized, right? I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I've been meaning to cut down on saying that, hence why I've been saying tilted instead. But then they like kept going with it. And I think that's where like my issue lies is we could have left it at just me saying like, oh shit, my bad, won't happen again.
Yeah.
Like
that's another thing. Yeah.
I should be good, right?
I'm all about second chances. I know we said we weren't going to get super political, and I'm not trying to be political with this statement.
I get it. It's because
but I hate cancel culture. It's garbage. It's like people grow up, like you're digging up my tweets from like 50 years ago.
Yeah, that's,
you know what I mean?
That's some dumb
shit like
right there.
I was a child then. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that anything happened with me specifically, but just like, you know what I mean?
I don't like when people try and pull two posts together, one from like 10 years ago and one from like 2 weeks ago, and be like, look at this hypocritical asshole. It's like, you do realize that in 10 years, a lot of shit can change in a person.
People can change.
And like, if they once said one thing and then once said another thing, like, honestly, who fucking cares? Who cares if somebody said something 10 years ago? And, well, I shouldn't say that, because some things you don't
feel
say.
them, and you just don't change about them.
Like, exactly.
Or like if you're like really old, like you're reaching the end of your life, and you said something like 5 years ago, I'm like, how much could have changed?
Yeah, like that's fair. But like if you're like, you said some dumb shit when you were 18, like, fuck old people. I don't know, right? That's some dumb
Yeah.
shit. But if you said that when you're like 18, and then when you're like 40, you say old people rule, and then somebody
Mm-hmm.
pulls those two tweets together, it's like, yeah, I'm fucking old now, you idiot. Like
Yeah.
shit changed. Like it's
Yeah. Shit
okay.
changes, bro.
It's okay. I know I got this
Life
tattoo when
happens.
I was 18, and now I fucking hate it when I'm 35.
Yeah.
But that's because I got fat and it doesn't look good anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Things change. Like
There's that.
people are allowed to evolve or devolve.
Exactly. It's fine. There's a couple Hearthstone cards based off of that. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like some Hearthstone cards are good sometimes, and then the meta
And then
changes,
the
and then they're
meta
trash.
changes and then they're trash. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all of that kind of was supposed to bring us to like mental health in the youth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one thing that a lot of old people fucking harp on is video games. And we are on Twitch. This is
We
a
are, in
video
fact, on
game
Twitch.
platform, and
Yeah.
we both are gamers. And
We are.
so like let's try and jump into video game addiction real quick.
Okay. I mean, can you tell me how long have you consistently played a game? Like how long?
Do you mean like in one
In one sitting.
in one sitting?
Yeah.
The longest. Well, I mean, that's kind of not like. Do you mean one specific game, or do you mean like just gaming for
One specific game. Let's.
Because I can do both. Like I did
Okay.
Extra Life, so I played video
That
games
doesn't
for
count,
24
but
hours.
also, yeah,
So
that
I
was
don't know
awesome.
if that should count,
Yeah.
but that was really fun, and it was for a good cause, and I hit my
Absolutely.
goal, and now I'm gonna do that again this November. I'm gonna do Extra
awesome.
Life again because that shit was the most. That was a hard 24 hours. It
I
was
believe it.
extremely hard, especially trying to
I
entertain a
peeked in on
stream
you.
for
Yeah,
24
peeked in on you
hours.
every so often. Yeah.
Dude, at hour like 21, I was like sitting back like this playing Overwatch, and I'm like dying, and I'm like falling asleep mid Overwatch game. So then I was like,
Mhm.
I can't play this. I gotta switch to Hearthstone. I switched to Hearthstone. And I timed out. Like I
Oh,
was like
gosh.
roping the guy, and I didn't like wake up until I heard like the chick of the like the rope
the big-
burning.
yeah, I
You
know
know
what
what I
you
mean?
mean.
It was like a sound, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta play cards, and then my turn passed. So that's how long I've ever like consistently just sat down and played video games. The longest like one specific time, well, back in college, like I would play Dota like 8 to 10 hours a day easy.
Mhm.
And I think the longest, I skipped all of my classes for 2 days straight to play for 12 hours each day.
Christ on the cross.
And so I would say that the longest I've ever gone though in one sitting was 14 hours of Dota
Mhm.
in one day. That was fun. I had
Yeah,
a really
I
good
bet.
day that day. I lost a lot of MMR that day.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
It was fun. Because
Yeah.
by hour 10, I was like, "The fucking bad teammates are all fucking shit
You're just-
stains.
you're
just
already on planet tilt.
tilted. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
god, it's rough. But yeah, how about for you? What's the longest you?
Probably. I mean, I have maybe I don't have the attention span for it. Like I need to do I need to do other things sometimes. I think the longest I've went is probably like 8 hours, and that was playing Red Dead 2. Just because I was like getting close to the end, and I was like, oh my god, because I wanted to move on to the next game, but I wanted to finish the story, so I just played and
Yeah.
played and played until like I got to the end.
See, like I used to play World of Warcraft too.
Hmm.
That shit will suck your life away.
Oh yeah.
You'll play for like, and I played like vanilla WoW for a little
Mhm.
bit there, and that was back before like they did a lot of like speed changes in the characters and whatnot. So you would move at like dog shit speed, and if you got lost, you were just fucking lost. Like
Oh no.
like you would be running basically in circles for like 3 hours, and it would feel like 20 minutes.
Shit.
So that was like, I used to play that for like 6-7 hours at a time. When I was in college though, I would sit down and play that for like a solid 10. Like if I was not playing Dota that day, I would play WoW and play
Yeah.
for like 10 hours. That was always fun. Um, but I
Sheesh.
mean, okay, so like video game addiction though, right?
Yeah, fairly new phenomenon.
It is, and I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so I know it's like real. I know that you can be addicted to video games. I
Mm-hmm.
think it gets a lot of bad rep,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that that part's bullshit.
Okay, well let's just break
I think that
let's just
that's
break down what
bullshit.
it is. Yeah, let's just break down what it is. So I have this article.
Okay.
The American Society of Addiction Medicine categorizes addiction as inability to consistently abstain, impairment in behavioral control, craving or increased hunger for rewarding experiences, diminished recognition of significant problems with one's behavior and interpersonal relationships, and a dysfunctional emotional response. So,
Okay.
do you? Those are for those are what it's characterized for addiction, generally, not necessarily video
Video
game
games.
addiction.
Now,
So
me
essentially,
personally, I've been victim of people telling me that I am a video game addict and that I need to quit and I need
mhm,
to like do other things. But I think what people don't realize is I'm just very passionate about video games.
mhm,
I really do enjoy playing them. Yes, if somebody were to come up to me and say, "You have to quit video games," I'd be like, "Fuck you, I'm not gonna do it." Right?
yeah,
And but the way I justify it is not what I would consider the same as like, "Oh, I can quit anytime I want." I know I couldn't. I'm not fucking
mhm,
dumb. I know that like
mhm,
if you were to tell me to quit cold turkey tomorrow, I would not be able to do that shit, right?
yeah,
But I have moderated my gaming a lot,
mhm,
especially
and
recently.
yeah,
I've tuned down how like, but again, this was me going from playing 8 to 10 hours a day, every day, for like 4 years basically, to like playing maybe 20 hours over 2 weeks,
okay,
sometimes 20 hours over 3 weeks.
mhm,
And that's even like on the higher end for me now. I would
mhm,
say like if I looked at my Steam right now, I probably would have 10 hours in the last 2 weeks.
okay.
And and that's mainly because I streamed the last 3 nights in a row.
So,
So
what do you think is the cause of your love for video games,
well,
and
so
why do you think anyone is saying that you're addicted?
people I think say that you're addicted to video games because to them there is a lot better uses of your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that other people's ignorance should not determine that I have an addiction.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, there is no difference from me sitting on the couch and playing a video game to somebody who likes to binge watch American Idol
Yeah, I
or
mean, at the
whatever.
same time, I don't think I think that it is a thing that happens that people do become addicted to video games.
Oh,
Do you?
I'm not saying that it's not a thing. I just think that like the biggest um issue that people had with me is if I was not playing them, I was watching them, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So like I not only did I put in like 10 hours a day watching Dota, but the rest of the hours I would fucking watch Dota.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
and Dota's 24/7. It's always there's always a stream. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's not like a streamer that I like, it's probably cuz there's a tournament going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's not a tournament, then my streamers are back on.
And you have your YouTube.
And I have YouTube.
Yeah.
And if I don't like any of the Dota streamers that are playing right now, it's cool. I'll just watch the Hearthstone streamers, or I'll just watch the Artifact streamers, or I'll just
mm-hmm.
watch, the other games that I'm interested in watching.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, in my opinion, watching streams is a lot better than watching TV. I genuinely hate watching TV right now.
Okay.
I canceled my TV. All I have is internet now because
Hmm.
I have Netflix and I have Hulu. That's all I
Yeah.
need. And even
Yeah.
then, watching
Cut the
those, like,
cord.
it's not even that fun for me. Like I
That's
watch
fair. I
a
mean,
few shows that I'm like really into,
hmm,
and then the rest is like movies for my kids.
okay,
But
that
for
makes
me
sense.
personally, I would rather just sit there and watch Dota all day. That's
Okay.
it's the same entertainment in my opinion,
Hmm.
and I think that like what I used to get,
It's like a sport. Like I get it. Like you're
yeah,
watching like a
yeah,
sport. Yeah, I know
it
what you
would
mean.
be like if somebody wanted to watch 3 baseball games in a day. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there are people who do that, right? But
Yeah.
nobody tries to take the remote from them and say, "Oh, you're addicted to
You're addicted.
watching baseball. This is bullshit. You need to do whatever," right?
I think. Yeah. I think.
Or you can never watch baseball ever again.
I think people
It's
can have
like,
positive addictions though. You know what I mean?
I do too.
Like fitness. Like that's one other thing. Like that's a little bit something that's different than with video games. It's like with fitness, you're going to be out in the world and you're probably going to have to talk to someone and you're probably going to be doing some sort of physical activity, which physical activity has been linked to increasing your mood, reducing rates of depression and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So there can be positive addictions. It's just that's one thing with video games. It's like
but
generally
I
you're
think that like
indoors.
in general though, I think a lot of the times people would like get mad at me because it was like, "Oh, I have a stream on and I'm
Hmm.
like sitting there talking to you." But I also have like cuz here's the thing though, nobody else cares to watch Dota with me. So I'd
Yeah.
be watching Dota like this and they'd be watching, football. And I'd be
Hmm.
like, well, I fucking hate football. So I'm just going to watch this. And then
Yeah.
they'd be like, well, you're not interacting with us. I'm like, you're not interacting with me. What's the difference? You're watching football. Like,
I
you
get
know?
that.
So,
Yeah.
like, I would get a lot of flack for being, like, distant, was the concept.
Okay.
You're being distant because you're glued to your phone at all times. And I'm like, well, maybe if you would try and understand why I like Dota so much, or why I like these games, or what it
Hmm.
is I like about them, and you can have dialogue with me just like I can bullshit with you about football for 10 minutes. Even though I
Yeah.
don't like football, I'll still ask who your favorite player is or whatever makes you excited. I want to see
Yeah.
that, right?
I
But
get that.
nobody gave that interaction to me, right?
I
So
understand.
in my
Yeah.
opinion, it's like I guess Fortnite's one of the bigger ones to talk about, right? A lot of
Hmm.
people, because of this whole Fortnite game, a lot of people are coming out with video game addictions. You know, in their
Hmm.
young kids, they're like, that's all they ever want to do is play this Fortnite game. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's been longer than Fortnite
Well,
though.
it has been, but I think Fortnite, how
I think like
popular Fortnite got, kind of really
yeah.
brought everything to the light. Like,
I think
if you know
World
what
of
I mean.
Warcraft and
Well,
Warcraft and
yeah.
those games, people know life those games. So,
For
but
yeah, I mean they did, and I think that
yeah.
yes, that started it. But I think
Hmm.
the most recent game that I can think of that has been the same is Fortnite, and before
Yeah.
that would probably be like Halo or
League of
maybe
Legends,
LOL,
honestly.
um,
People
Call of
know
Duty.
Life League.
Those are the
Yeah.
other games that I can think of, the bigger titles. But you
Yeah.
don't hear people no lifing Madden
Yeah.
or whatever, like
Yeah. Exactly.
so. There's that, but
Yeah. In researching for this topic, a lot of what I saw was people playing League of Legends. Like people just like losing their jobs, losing their spouses just from League and Warcraft, just like nonstop. You know what I mean?
and like in some regards I can totally understand, like if you're playing games to the point where you you can't, like you feel like you can't do anything else,
Hmm.
that's where it's a problem, right?
Well, yeah. I think it's like it's an addiction like anything else. So, do you mind if I give you some of the causes
I'll go
that
for it.
theorists have
Yeah,
for video game
I'm
addiction?
always up for listening to this stuff cuz it interests me, because I want to understand more, like what signs did I give off for
Yeah.
people to be like, this is a problem.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So it says for some theorists focus on presumed built-in reward systems of games to explain their potentially addictive nature. Medieval video games, particularly massively multiplayer online role-playing games and social network and mobile games, rely on a core loop, which is a cycle involving players doing something and being rewarded for that task, so that you want to keep doing that task, even though it might take increasingly longer because you're rewarded. So it keeps you on. So then you're there for
Okay.
longer and you're there for longer. And then another theory.
Dota never rewarded me, and that was like the
Oh,
most time
absolutely
I've
not.
ever put in a game.
Well,
So I gotta say that I'm gonna say that one's bullshit, but that's just my
yeah,
own
fair.
experience, right?
Yeah.
But I can understand like some of those. Like my mom played Heyday, right?
Mhm.
Or those Farmville games, like Facebook.
I played
games,
Clash of
right?
Clans, and yes, it's exactly like that. And I want to spend all my money on that. I had to just completely delete it.
Yeah, that is kind of where I think that bullet point is getting at, is games like that where it's like, oh, well, if I just farm these 15 cornfields, I'll get the 6 diamonds that I need to buy the upgraded house, and then all my friends who play Farmville will see my upgraded house and they'll be like, yeah, I can get that. That's some addictive bullshit right there.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
next point.
Yeah, the next one, according to lead investigator Richard Ryan, he believes that players play for more reasons than fun alone. Ryan's a motivational psychologist at Rochester and says that many video games satisfy basic psychological needs, such as social needs, self-importance, ego, things like that.
Yep.
So that things that people aren't getting in the real world, they are getting through the video games, like sense of community. It's like,
I think that's fair.
yeah,
Because that's what I mean, like I played video games with you guys, like our friends in college, and then once you guys like, or not you guys because you didn't really, but like once the other, like our other friends kind of dropped playing games, like I just found new friends that played the game.
yeah,
And like
and they still play
and
games. They just play different games now.
Yeah, they just play different games, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like clearly you can tell who liked what game better. I think like I just have the most fun when I'm playing like Dota and Artifact. Everybody else
That's
got enjoyment out of like Hearthstone. I think was the biggest one. I think our friends still pretty much play Hearthstone.
Yeah, I think John has moved on to the Division 2. He's actually playing it right now.
Awesome. I know he played like Destiny for a while.
Yeah,
And
he's real into
he
Destiny.
plays like all those other types of like shooters and whatnot, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, and it's fine. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But like that's the thing, right? To go along with the community thing is, yeah. I mean, that was for the better part of our college years. That was how we fucking hung out. Was all of us would jump on and we played Dota together. And it like I treated it like we were hanging out right next. I mean, you guys were all in same apartment usually, and I was like, you know, just chilling in my apartment. But like, still, it was always like, that's what we talked about. That's what we did. That's how we hung out. You know.
Yeah, I think there's also like a measure of like there's a pleasure system invoked. So like the same way people get addicted to stuff that's not like drugs, like sex or gambling or anything like that.
It's the rush. There's a real rush there.
You do something and you win and it gives you some pleasure, so it gives off some type of dopamine, and your body just becomes like, yo, I want to keep doing. I like to keep feeling that
If you
great.
hit
You know what I
a
mean?
5-man echo slam with like 2 creep waves in it and it kills everything, you
Oh
are
my
definitely
goodness.
play Earthshaker
Yeah.
for like fucking 12 games in a row because
Yeah.
you just want that echo again and you want to be like, it's a disaster. You want to do that in your head. You want to win TI from fucking this echo slam right now. I get it. You can go to the next bullet point though.
Say that again.
If you have more bullet points, you can keep hitting them.
That's
was
it. I can talk about treatment. Treatment if people are feeling like they are addicted.
Go for it.
Okay.
Because
So
I got some concepts of treatment as well.
Okay.
But-
So they're just There is Online Gamers Anonymous, which is an American nonprofit organization formed in 2002. It essentially has a 12-step program to help you wean you off of games. There's Computer Gaming Addicts Anonymous, which was formed in 2014 and is a recovery fellowship based on the motto of Alcoholics Anonymous. And there's another one, Game Quitters, founded in 2014 by Cam Adair. It's a large online community dedicated to the treatment of video game addiction for both gamers and their loved ones. So if anyone is feeling like they're addicted and they need help, please visit one of those organizations. I'm sure their information is all available online. And if you have anything to say about your treatment options as well.
Yeah, I mean, mine are a little less serious than that. Not that I'm about to make a joke of this or anything like that, but because it is, at the end of the day, it is your mental health, right? And like for me personally, because I didn't feel like I was as addicted as everybody else told me I was, I just tried to prove it.
Yeah.
So like for me, like I cut back on playing. I definitely cut back on watching. I deleted Hearthstone off my phone. I haven't played Hearthstone in like, I think over a year now. And like that was one of the games where if I wasn't like watching something, I would just turn Hearthstone on my phone and just play Hearthstone. And so like, but the things that I used to justify it by, I stopped doing that. And I think that helped me the most. Was instead of being like, oh, well, you're on Facebook on your phone all the time. So what's the difference if you're on Facebook and I'm on Hearthstone? We're sitting together, right?
Yeah.
So instead I don't play Hearthstone, but instead I think I've filled the void with other things. Like Twitter and Facebook.
Well,
you know? I just sit there and I look at bullshit.
Yeah.
And like I get that same kind of like it's just something to keep my mind busy.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest issue is like a lot of the times I kind of get bored in my own little world because I think a lot and I'm always thinking. So
you want to know something to think about? This pod doing awesome.
This pod that is something to think about, right?
Yeah.
But like I got a lot of ideas for the podcast, right? And I got a lot of ideas for a lot of things.
And that's a great way to flood your energy into, you know?
Yeah, and it's something that other people would consider more productive, whatever. But like at the end of the game or at the end of the day, I treat games like other people treat books and movies and TV. It's like it is my source of entertainment. It's something I can use to wind down. It's something I can use to get a lot of critical thinking, but it's like you are into games for the storyline. You are like, I want to play the movie, right? It's the same feel. Like every time I'm playing a game of Dota, in my head, it's like trying to play the grand finals of TI. Like it's like this fantasy world. Like I know that it's not the real concept, right? But like that's where I think there's always different degrees of addiction, right? There's people who smoke cigarettes because they've been smoking for 30 years and they smoke 2 packs a day, and it like puts them out of money because they're spending fuck tons of money on cigs, right? And then there's other people who have cigarettes like 1 a day every day. It's still the same. It's the same fucking addiction.
Yeah.
You're still addicted to cigarettes.
Yeah.
One is definitely easier to quit than the other, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're indulging it in some way, shape, or form. But I think that's where I find it to be like kind of frustrating, is that other people don't romanticize video games the way that they do books. Like, have you ever heard somebody say on a rainy day, I just want to sit inside, curl up and read a good book, right? And everybody's okay with that. But if it's a rainy day and I say, I just want to sit down, I want to sit at my computer, I want to play World of Warcraft all day, I'm getting shit for that. by
That's fair.
everybody.
Um,
Everybody and
that's
their
fair, but
mother is like, fuck you. You're a low life. You're a couch potato. You need to go outside. And I'm like, but it's raining.
yeah, I mean, I get that, but I
Like,
think,
yeah.
I think if someone, I think if someone was reading books to the point where they were like it's affecting everything else in their life, their relationships, their jobs, and schooling, I think people would be just as concerned. It's just video games now, and it's video games
Yeah.
is looked as the young person's thing, while books are looked as oh, you're reading books, you must be wise or smart or something. You know what I mean? But if it was
Yeah.
affecting everything else, I think people would be like, oh, you're a bookworm, like in a bad way. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get you. I feel like you just don't see that as often. Like, you don't
Yeah.
see people look down on that because at the end of the day, there are much worse addictions.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah,
I think
exactly.
that
There's
that's kind
positive
of the,
addictions.
yeah, I think that that's kind of like, to me, I think video games is way more of a positive addiction. I could just be an alcoholic. I could, every single day
That's
after
true.
work, I could come home, I could eat dinner, and then I could go down to my little bar that I have here in my basement, and I could pour myself 2 glasses of whiskey, and I could sit there and I could drink all the whiskey every night, right? But
Mhm.
instead, I just want to come down and play like a game of Artifact for 15 minutes. Like, is
Yeah.
that like the end of the world? I don't think so, but other people do, right?
Mhm.
And that's kind of like you got to gauge it. But
Yeah, I don't think video games are bad. Video games, in research for this, I video games actually, I saw a lot of stories of video games saving people's lives, or
yeah,
giving them careers. I just
I
think
mean, that's totally
it's always
possible.
about balance, you know?
Exactly.
It's always about just how are you using the medium, and how is the medium interfering with your relationships or your work or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think like some of that though, I think can also be attributed to just your own personal mental health. Like
Hmm.
like if you're think about like alcoholism, right? That's something we can talk about because like if you're a rager when you drink and your
Hmm.
friends don't like stop you, like like if I like say I got drunk every single time I got drunk and went to a party with you, I had a tendency of just punching somebody in the face and blacking out drunk, right?
Yeah.
So that's very negative. But
Hmm.
if my other thing is, oh well, every time we go out to a party, I'm the one who's always like smiling and laughing, and I like request the best songs,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm still drinking alcohol
Yeah,
every night or
I think
whatever.
yeah,
Like
that's
it's
there's the whole concept of the functioning alcoholic or
yeah,
the functioning drug addict, which still isn't
it's not
good.
good. It's
It
not
still isn't
good.
good. It's just that you're able to. Some people are just able to pull off the rest of their lives and be
Yeah.
drunk or be intoxicated.
It's like I've never played video games to the point where I've punched my monitor, but I know that
Yeah.
there are
Well,
actual real
for
people
some
who have
people,
done that.
oh, for some people, it doesn't take but one game for them to get that angry.
Exactly. And that's kind of like the other thing, but I feel like when you play video games, like especially like I play competitive ones, right? So
Mhm.
a lot of that is mental. Like if I'm having a bad day and I try and sit down and play a game of Artifact and I lose that game of Artifact, like these days I'll just quit playing. I
Mhm.
just stop for the night,
Mhm.
right? And I kind of like I used to not stop, and that's where I think I was actually like addicted, right?
Mhm.
Like that day where I played Dota for like 14 hours
14
or whatever
hours.
I said. Yeah,
Yeah.
14 hours. When I played Dota for like 14 hours and I lost like I think I played 20 games and lost 15 of them,
Yikes.
but I kept playing. It did
Mm.
not matter. I kept playing and I
Yeah.
was pissed off the whole time. I didn't even really enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
But the next day, I was still like proud of it. Well, I played for 14 hours. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. I got to play for 14 hours, but it also like made at the time I
Hmm.
was pissed off.
Yeah.
And I mean, I
I,
don't know.
yeah. I guess for me, I feel like everything. I might have said this before, but I feel like everything is competing for my time
Oh
because
yeah.
because I do enjoy gaming, but like, you know, I have my GF, I have TV shows I like, I have movies I want to see, I have friends I want to go hang out with. So it's like I can only play or devote X amount of time to so many things. I also have school and
Yeah.
all that stuff, so it's just everything's competing for my time. And
And
I'm
that
sure it's the
is,
same with you.
oh, it's definitely the same with me. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, it's different competition, but
Yeah.
it's, you know, I mean, if it's not my job, it's my family, and if it's not my family, it's like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm really not feeling it tonight. I just kind of want to watch, you know, a movie or watch like a cooking show or something like, you know,
Hmm.
but to me, I don't really have many friends that like live around me. So I
Hmm.
don't like go out and do anything. And even if I did, it's extremely hard to go out when you have kids.
Hmm.
It's not like I can always piggyback my kids with me and go to the bar. Like I
Yeah.
can't do that shit,
Yeah.
you know? But um it's extremely difficult because my wife is a stay-at-home mom.
Hmm.
So for her, a lot of the time she's just with the kids all day. So when I get home, she just wants to hang out with me or like get a
Yeah.
break from the kids and like have me take over and do stuff like that. And I got to say like a lot of times I'm not very good at that because
Hmm.
I'm very drained from work
Hmm.
every single day because it's a lot of social interaction and it's a lot of social interaction with people that I don't necessarily want to interact with
Hmm.
because it's just whether I A don't like the coworkers or B I mean I work in basically IT so I get a
Hmm.
lot of people acting like things are the end of the world when like something doesn't work right or whatever and it needs fixed like right now and if it can't get fixed right now it's like they talk shit on me and like
Yeah.
that just happens, right?
Hmm.
And I have to be like okay with that. It's
Hmm.
so like you know going through your day and having like a hard mental day coming home and then like the first thing that you have to do is change a shitty diaper or like something like that like it makes you every task gets more and more daunting as the day goes on.
Hmm.
So a lot of times, like if my wife wants to get out of the house or whatever, if I've already changed my pants, I'm not going out.
Oh yeah.
And that's like
I know what you mean.
that's hard to look at somebody who you know like they're desperate to get out of the house or whatever, and you're just like, I can't. Like I just
Hmm.
I know I physically can, but like I will not be a pleasant person with like I will be miserable
Hmm.
and like trying to balance that kind of stuff and then like you sit there the whole day and then all I want is like at the end of the night I want to be able to just sit down and play a game or something like that
Yeah.
and then I can't or whatever like that to me is where it starts to get like shitty because it's like oh like I just want to relax for a minute and I'm sick of the TV or
Hmm.
I'm sick of people or whatever it may be at the
Yeah.
time, right? So like I don't have those other outlets that compete for the time, but the things that I do have that compete for my time require a lot.
Hmm.
Like a wife and kids. Like it's just like it's never end like I'm a parent 24/7.
Absolutely.
I'm not you know, I can't just turn that off at any point, you know? So like
Call off.
at 3 in the morning, if you know my son wakes up and is crying or whatever and my wife wakes me up to be like hey it's your turn I gotta
Hmm.
get my ass out of bed and I gotta go figure out what the problem is and solve it doesn't matter if it's 3 in the morning and I'm exhausted and I gotta get up in 2 hours to go to work or what it does not fucking matter so a lot of the time like I just find myself fighting myself to go to sleep like I'm like
Mm.
there's like not enough time in the day.
There's not enough time in the
So
day.
it's like I would rather sacrifice sleep. Like can you believe this the other day I had my glasses off. My wife looked at my face and went, "You look horrible." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I never realized how like baggy your eyes are
Yeah.
actually." And I didn't think about it, right? And then I went and I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, dude, I'm disgusting. Because I'm just exhausted always.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a constant state of being tired.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. Oh god.
Definitely, yeah.
So that's really all I had.
Yeah, I definitely feel lucky that I can run off little amounts of sleep and I'll like still be like energized, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm definitely, I feel lucky. Like 6 hours, like I'm good to go.
I think on the average night I get about 5.
Mm.
But they're like I can run with like 3. I don't really need it.
That's madness.
I like, and I think it's more just like I'm an adrenaline madhouse. Like I'm like, cause I'm just always amped up with adrenaline. It does not matter what it is. It's just always like at its peak. And I think that's where like I get my energy from, is it's always adrenaline rushes. Like I shake 100% of the time. Like I'll be trying to type at work and my fingers will be like not steady. And anytime somebody's like watching me code or like something like that, and they're like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. They're like, did you have too much caffeine? I'm like, not enough actually. like it's not, like it's never enough. And I'm just sitting there and I literally like I can't write very well because my handwriting is just shit because I shake the whole time. I'm like trying to write. Good. Well, I mean, it's because like I'm
get some damn sleep. But I know what
sleep,
you mean,
right? But like I don't want to. I don't care about sleep. Sleep is my literal last priority.
Well, you should get sleep because then you'll be able to do more in the day.
Nah, fuck the day.
Fair.
All right. 2 things from Seaside.
Okay. Wait. Let me close out this topic real quick.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine.
Just real quick. Countries have taken their own measures. I guess the Chinese government operates several clinics to treat those who overuse online games, but these clinics are largely illegal. So they kind of just like kidnap people and like tell them, hey, don't like stop what you're doing, and then like you stay there until you're completely clean. And it's illegal, but like I guess so people are so pro this in China that they don't even care. It's like it happens and like people know that it happens and they're like whatever. And then Australia, there's a network for internet investigation and research, which provides a list of therapists who help video game and internet addicts. Damn. So, two things for me. Munster or Pepperjack?
That's actually so hard.
I know.
Oh,
it's a hard one.
Okay, snap decision. The first one that hit me is Pepperjack.
Okay, I can respect both decisions.
You really can't deny it because they're both so good.
They're both great cheeses.
Damn. Oh, I like want to change my answer, but I can't. Okay, Pepperjack.
Okay.
All right, 2 things for you, Drake or Hove.
That's hard.
I know it
but
is.
I probably have to say Drake.
I
probably have to say Drake
you're
because
wrong and it's fine. But that's
it's fine. Yeah.